They're going to kill me again. The thought jolts me awake, colder than the December air seeping through my bedroom window. It's Christmas morning, the same scent of my stepmother's cloying lilies of the valley perfume already slithering under the door. The same excited whispers from downstairs meant for me. 6 months, that's how long I had last time from this exact morning until I was freezing to death alone on an airport bench in Paris. My hand instinctively covers the faint, jagged scar on my other palm. A scar I shouldn't have yet. A scar from clawing at airport glass, a desperate, failed plea for a life they'd already stolen. It pulses with a phantom ache, a chilling reminder. This isn't a nightmare, this is happening, again. Elena, darling, are you awake? Sophia's voice, honey-sweet and utterly false, trills from downstairs. Sophia, my stepsister, the architect of my first demise. I swing my legs over the side of the bed, the worn floral carpet rough beneath my feet. This is it. The day it all began last time. The day they offered me Paris on a silver platter. A platter lined with poison. Downstairs, the scene is a perfect, sickening replica. Marcus, my father, beams, his eyes crinkling at the corners in that way that used to make me feel cherished. Now, it just looks like the calculated charm of a con man. Sophia is already there, phone aimed at me, a predatory gleam in her eyes, thinly veiled by a saccharine smile. Merry Christmas, sleepyhead. We have the biggest surprise for you. I know what's in the elegantly wrapped envelope Marcus is holding out. An exclusive art program in Paris, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Lies, all of it. Oh, wow, I manage, my voice a passable imitation of surprised delight. I take the envelope, my fingers brushing his. His skin feels cold, or maybe it's just me. Open it! Open it! Sophia urges, her phone practically glued to my face. I can see myself in the small screen, a girl with wide, hopeful eyes. I remember those eyes. They didn't see the betrayal coming. As I tear open the envelope, the glossy brochure inside detailing a non-existent Académie des Arts Prestigieux, I let the tears well. Genuine tears this time. Not of joy, but of a grief so profound it steals my breath. They think these are tears of gratitude. They have no idea. I don't know what to say, I stammer, just like I did before. Paris? For me? Only the best for my little artist, Marcus says, patting my shoulder. He avoids my eyes, just like last time. I remember cataloging that detail, a tiny splinter of unease in the otherwise overwhelming joy I'd felt. Now it's a glaring red flag. Sophia adjusts her camera angle. This is going to get so many views. Sweet stepsister gets dream Paris trip, she chirps. Everyone will see how generous we are. The boarding pass inside the brochure is a forgery, of course. Air France, Charles de Gaulle, a one-way ticket. My stomach churns. The memory, raw and visceral, floods me. I'm standing in the arrivals hall at Charles de Gaulle, the crisp January air biting at my cheeks. No one is there. My phone calls go straight to voicemail. Marcus, Sophia, even Aunt Linda. Panic, cold and sharp, begins to prickle. Hours pass. The airport slowly empties. The announcements become a blur of French I can't quite follow. The little money I have runs out. The cold seeps into my bones. A relentless, insidious chill. I find a sheltered alcove, huddle into myself, waiting for a rescue that never comes. My last thought before the blackness consumed me. Why did they stop loving me? The metallic tang of that remembered fear coats my tongue. I blink, the opulence of our Christmas-decked living room jarring against the bleakness of that airport floor. Are you okay, sweetie? Marcus asks, a flicker of something... concern? No, impatience in his eyes. You look a little pale. Just overwhelmed, I say, forcing another watery smile. It's the most wonderful gift. Ever. I excuse myself, mumbling something about needing a moment. In the upstairs bathroom, the expensive rose-scented soap does nothing to wash away the grime of their deceit. The walls are thin. Too thin. Sophia's voice, sharp and satisfied, cuts through the quiet. And the donation to the homeless shelter will be under our family name, of course. Such a tragedy. Elena running off like that, but at least some good will come of it. The papers are almost ready, Marcus murmurs, his voice lower, more cautious. Once she's officially declared missing, the inheritance transfer to you will be seamless, Sophia. Her mother's trust. It'll finally be properly managed. My inheritance. My mother's money. That's what this is about. Not a troubled teen, not a runaway. Just greed, cold and reptilian. I grip the porcelain sink, my knuckles white. The rage is a living thing inside me, hot and choking. But this time, it's different. Last time, it was the helpless fury of a victim. This time, it's the calculating fury of a survivor. I look at my reflection. The girl staring back looks so young, so trusting. Her eyes are still wide, but now there's a new light in them, hard and unyielding. Not this time, I whisper, my voice barely audible. The reflection nods, a silent pact. 6 months. I have 6 months of foreknowledge. 6 months where they believe I'm their unsuspecting pawn. The element of surprise is entirely mine. I smooth my hair, take a deep breath, and compose my face into an expression of radiant joy. I walk back downstairs, the brochure clutched in my hand like a precious treasure. This is truly a dream come true, I say, my voice trembling with perfectly feigned emotion. Thank you. Thank you both so, so much. I throw my arms around Marcus, then Sophia, feeling their stiff, insincere embraces. So, I ask, pulling away, my smile brilliant, my eyes shining with unshed, real tears. When do I leave? I can't wait to start packing. My voice is honey. My thoughts are ice. The game has just begun. And this time, I know all the rules. The next few weeks are a masterclass in deception, theirs and mine. I become a ghost in my own home, observing, listening, documenting. My phone, my constant companion, is now my most valuable weapon. I set it to record audio during the family dinners, during those quiet evening chats when they think I'm absorbed in homework. Finally rid of the burden. Sophia sighs one evening, swirling her wine, her voice laced with casual cruelty as she discusses my impending departure with Marcus. Honestly, Father, it's for the best. She was always a bit much. It's a delicate situation, Sophia, Marcus replies, his tone all business. The trust fund is substantial. We need to ensure everything is handled discreetly. Her instability will make the transition smoother. My fingers tremble as I listen to the recordings later. Huddled in my bed, the words like shards of glass in my ears. Burden, instability. Is that how they truly see me? Or just convenient labels for their greed? I buy a tiny hidden camera, the kind disguised as a USB charger, and place it in the study. It's where Marcus keeps his important papers, where I know they do their real planning. The footage it captures is damning. I watch them hunched over documents, Marcus's hand guiding Sophia's as she practices forging my signature on what looks like a power of attorney form. Another document, on what appears to be a doctor's letterhead, details my supposed history of emotional distress and impulsive behavior. They're not just planning to abandon me, they're planning to erase me, to declare me incompetent, to ensure no one questions my disappearance. The sheer premeditation of it all sickens me, but I force myself to remain patient, meticulously labeling each video file, each audio recording. An evidence file growing day by day that will be their undoing. My upcoming Paris trip becomes my go-to conversation starter. I approach family friends, extended relatives, a carefully crafted innocent curiosity in my voice. Aunt Linda, have you ever been to Paris in the spring? Father says it's beautiful, and he's arranged this amazing art program for me. Aunt Linda, my mother's own sister, fusses over me, her eyes not quite meeting mine. Oh, Elena, how wonderful! Such a generous father you have. But there's a nervousness in her smile, a slight tremor in her hand as she pats my arm. Later, I overhear her on the phone with Marcus, a hushed, anxious conversation about Elena asking questions and a reminder of the generous loan he'd given her last year. The one that would be difficult to repay if things became complicated. Financial benefit. That's all my safety, my life was worth to her. My best friend Zoe is genuinely thrilled for me. Oh my God, Elena Paris, you're so lucky. You have to send me 1,000,000 pictures. Her innocent excitement is a balm, but also a fresh stab of pain. She doesn't know. How could she? The people who were supposed to protect me are the ones plotting my destruction. The betrayal from my own blood cuts deep, but I file it away, another name on a growing list. The university library becomes my sanctuary. Armed with my student ID and a burning need for answers, I delve into my family's finances. Marcus has always been cagey about money, especially my mother's estate. It doesn't take long to see why. He's been systematically embezzling from it for years. Forged signatures on withdrawal slips, illegal transfers to offshore accounts, shell corporations with him as the sole director. Sophia's full scholarship to Columbia University? Paid for, every last cent, with money stolen from my inheritance. The sheer scale of their theft is breathtaking. My mother worked her entire life to build that legacy, to ensure I'd be taken care of. And they've been bleeding it dry. I feel physically sick, a wave of nausea washing over me as I stare at the incriminating spreadsheets and bank statements. But I can't afford to break down. Not yet. Methodically, I photograph every document with my phone, each click of the shutter a nail in their coffins. This information, this cold, hard proof, is my ammunition. Back at home, I slip into the role of the perfect, grateful daughter. I praise Sophia's brilliant mind and her amazing fashion sense. I tell Marcus how lucky I am to have such a supportive and visionary father. I even offer to help plan my own farewell party. It's a sickening charade, but I watch them relax, their guard dropping as they buy into my performance. They believe their manipulation is working flawlessly. Sophia, in particular, becomes insufferably smug. She starts making careless comments, little digs about my naivety, my supposed lack of worldly experience. "Don't worry your pretty little head about the details, Elena," she'll say, patting my hand condescendingly. "Father and I have everything under control. You just focus on, you know, your art." I smile sweetly, nodding along, while my phone diligently records every condescending word, every veiled insult. Murder, cold and precise, simmers in my heart, but my face remains a mask of innocent gratitude. One chilly afternoon in early February, I make my first significant move. Under the guise of getting a student visa and asking for travel advice, I visit the French consulate. I sit across from a kind-faced woman, Madame Dubois, and lay out my story, a carefully edited version, of course. I'm a young art student, thrilled about an upcoming program in Paris, but I have some concerns. My family is handling all the arrangements, and some of the details seem unusual. I present copies of the forged acceptance letter, the one-way ticket. I don't accuse them directly, not yet. I simply express a young woman's anxieties about traveling alone, about the legitimacy of a program her family seems overly eager to send her to. "It's just that my stepmother and stepsister," I say, my voice trembling slightly. "They've been acting a little possessive of my father lately, and there's been talk about my inheritance, my mother's money." I let a tear escape, dabbing at it with a tissue. "I just want to make sure everything is safe. For me." Madame Dubois listens patiently, her expression growing more concerned. I explain that my father has become quite controlling, that he's even mentioned getting power of attorney over my finances for my own good while I'm abroad. I provide copies of the documents I'd photographed from the study camera, showing the attempts to declare me incompetent. I tell her I'm worried that if something were to happen to me in Paris, if I were to go missing, it might be convenient for certain people. By the end of our meeting, Madame Dubois assures me that the consulate will make discreet inquiries. She also gives me the card of a lawyer who specializes in international inheritance law and protecting the rights of young adults. More importantly, she promises to flag my name and passport details. If I were to enter France and not check in with them, or if any unusual activity was reported regarding my status, an immediate investigation would be launched. My next stop is the office of Mr. Abernathy, my mother's original estate lawyer. He's an old man, kind but shrewd, and he knew my mother well. I tell him a similar story, focusing on my concerns about Marcus's management of my mother's estate, the forged signatures I've discovered, the sudden liquidation of assets. I don't reveal my full hand, not yet. I just plant the seeds of suspicion, a worried daughter concerned about her father's unusual financial decisions. He promises to look into it, his brow furrowed with concern. A week later, I receive a discreet email from Madame Dubois. The Académie des Arts Prestigieux has no record of my enrollment, no record of the program itself. It doesn't exist. Legal flags have been placed on all my known financial accounts requiring dual authentication for any significant transactions. Mr. Abernathy also calls, his voice grave. He's found irregularities in the estate accounts, serious ones, and is launching a formal audit. I sit in my room, a small, triumphant smile playing on my lips. The first pieces are in place. They think they're planning my departure. They have no idea I'm orchestrating their downfall. The air in the house grows heavier as March approaches, the supposed date of my Paris trip looming closer. Sophia is particularly agitated, flitting between triumphant preening and nervous irritability. I know why. The financial audit Mr. Abernathy initiated is making Marcus jumpy, and their carefully laid plans are likely hitting snags. Then comes the dress incident. It's a Tuesday afternoon, 2 weeks before I'm scheduled to leave. I walk into my bedroom to find Sophia there, a whirlwind of feigned industry surrounded by open boxes. "Just helping you clear out some old things, Elena," she chirps, a little too brightly. "Making space for all your new Parisian clothes." My eyes scan the room, and a cold dread settles in my stomach. My mother's vintage dress collection. Gone, not just clothes, but memories. The silk Chanel her father bought her for her 21st birthday. The hand-beaded flapper dress she wore to her first gallery opening. The simple Dior sundress she had on the day she met Marcus. Irreplaceable pieces, each one a tangible link to the mother I barely remembered but fiercely loved. They were stored carefully in archival boxes in my closet, waiting for the day I was old enough to truly appreciate them. "Where are they, Sophia?" I ask, my voice dangerously quiet. She waves a dismissive hand. "Oh, those old things? Honestly, Elena, they were practically falling apart, full of moth holes. I had the housekeepers take them out with the rubbish. You don't want to be carting dusty old rags to Paris, do you?" Moth holes? Rubbish? I know my mother's meticulous care. Those dresses were pristine. Later that evening, scrolling through Sophia's private social media, an account she thinks I don't know about, I find them. Photo after photo of Sophia, striking poses in my mother's dresses. The Chanel, the Dior, the beaded flapper. No moth holes, no dust, just Sophia, smug and triumphant, captioning one photo, "Feeling like a queen in this vintage find. Hash blessed hash, luxury lifestyle." She even has one of my mother's pearl necklaces clasped around her throat. The cruelty of it is a physical blow, destroying my mother's memory while simultaneously stealing valuable assets. It's a new low, even for her. The cold rage I've been carefully suppressing flares, threatening to consume me. But I take a deep breath, reel it in. An outburst now would be premature. I simply nod when she asks if I'm upset, my voice carefully neutral. "No, Sophia, it's fine. Accidents happen. You were just trying to help." The next day, I approach Sophia with a bright, forgiving smile. "Sophia, thank you so much for helping me clear out my closet. It was so thoughtful of you." She preens, visibly relaxing. "Of course, Elena. Anything for my little sister." "And those dresses you found," I continue, my tone full of admiration. "They look absolutely stunning on you. You have such an amazing sense for vintage." Her eyes light up. "You think so?" "Definitely. You should wear them for your college interviews. They make you look so sophisticated." I pull out my phone. "Here, let me take some pictures. I want to remember how beautiful you look in them. And it'll be good to have for, inspiration for my own Parisian style." For the next hour, I play the adoring younger sister, photographing Sophia as she models each of my mother's stolen dresses. She poses and pouts, lapping up the attention, completely oblivious to the cold, calculated glint in my eyes. With each click, I'm not just capturing an image. I'm documenting theft. Each photo is time-stamped, the metadata irrefutable. I even get her to twirl, showing off the unique details of each gown, details only someone intimately familiar with the collection would know. "You really have an eye, Elena," Sophia says, impressed with my photography skills. I'm learning, I reply sweetly. That afternoon, I'm on the phone with Mr. Thompson, the senior claims adjuster from my mother's insurance company. The policy is old but comprehensive, covering theft of valuable personal items, including couture clothing. I explain the situation, my voice trembling with carefully controlled distress. My stepsister, in a fit of what I can only describe as misguided enthusiasm, has disposed of a significant collection of my late mother's irreplaceable vintage dresses. However, I have since discovered she didn't dispose of them at all. She's taken them, and she's flaunting them on social media. I email him the portfolio of photographs. Sophia wearing the dresses, close-ups of the labels, the distinctive stitching, even a few old photos of my mother wearing the same pieces for comparison. I also include screenshots of Sophia's social media posts, complete with her boastful captions. I believe this constitutes grand larceny, Mr. Thompson, I say, my voice firm. These are not just clothes. They are valuable estate assets, and they belong to me. Simultaneously, I forward the same evidence to Mr. Abernathy, highlighting that these aren't just stolen goods, but assets of my mother's estate being actively concealed and misappropriated by Sophia, with Marcus's tacit approval. I'm concerned, Mr. Abernathy, I write, that this is part of a larger pattern of behavior regarding my mother's legacy. Then the masterstroke. I know Sophia, she's vain, but also lazy. She wouldn't have disposed of the dresses she wasn't currently wearing in any sensible way. She'd have hidden them, probably somewhere obvious, somewhere she thought no one would look. Late that night, when the house is silent, I slip into her room. It takes me less than 10 minutes. Tucked away in the back of her vast walk-in closet, under a pile of discarded shopping bags from last season, are several of my mother's other gowns, hastily folded and crammed into a designer duffel bag. I photograph them there, in their hiding place, the images dark and damning. The next morning, I send an anonymous email to Mr. Thompson from a burner account. Regarding claim hash, KXCC regarding the stolen dresses of Elena Vance, suggest you look in Miss Sophia Vance's walk-in closet, rear left corner, under a pile of shopping bags. You'll find more of the missing items there. Seems she didn't have enough space on her Instagram feed for all of them. The raid happens 3 days later. It's a spectacle. 2 uniformed police officers and a stern-looking Mr. Thompson, armed with a warrant and my detailed photographic evidence. They find the duffel bag exactly where my anonymous tip indicated. Sophia is summoned from her online yoga class, her face a mask of indignant confusion that quickly crumbles into panicked disbelief as Mr. Thompson calmly identifies each dress, cross-referencing them with the photos I'd provided. These items were reported stolen, Mr. Thompson says, his voice devoid of emotion, and an insurance claim for grand larceny has been filed. Marcus rushes in, blustering and attempting to smooth things over. There must be some mistake. Sophia, darling, what is all this? These are just some old things Elena didn't want. Actually, Mr. Vance, Mr. Thompson interrupts, holding up one of my photographs of Sophia preening in the Chanel. We have evidence suggesting these items were not unwanted, but actively taken and concealed, and Miss Vance's social media activity rather contradicts the old things' narrative. Sophia's face goes white, then red. Elena, this is your fault. You set me up, she screeches, lunging towards me. A police officer steps calmly in her path. I shrink back, clutching Marcus's arm, my eyes wide with perfectly feigned terror and confusion. Set you up, Sophia? I don't understand. I thought you were helping me. Sophia is handcuffed, still screaming about my treachery, about how I've always been jealous of her. The officers are polite but firm. As they lead her out, her earlier triumphant words echo in my mind, feeling like a queen in this vintage find. Not so much of a queen now, are you, Sophia? Later, after the police and Mr. Thompson have gone, leaving a shaken and furious Marcus in their wake, I stand before my mirror. Around my neck is my mother's triple-strand pearl necklace, the one Sophia was wearing in her queen photo. I'd retrieved it from her jewelry box the night I searched her closet. It feels cool and smooth against my skin, like a comforting touch from the past. My mother's presence feels suddenly, undeniably close, a warm embrace of approval. Marcus paces the living room, his face ashen. Elena, you have to help her. Post bail. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. I turned to him, my expression one of gentle, sorrowful helplessness. Father, I'd love to, but you know my trust fund access is limited. You've always told me it's for my own protection, managed carefully until I'm older and wiser. I pause, letting the irony hang in the air. Besides, I add, my voice soft and sweet, I'm sure Sophia will be fine. Like you said, it's just a misunderstanding. She didn't really do anything wrong, did she? He stares at me, a new, unfamiliar expression dawning in his eyes. Suspicion, or perhaps for the first time a flicker of fear. A week later, a substantial sum of money is deposited into a new, secure bank account Mr. Abernathy helped me set up. The insurance payout for the stolen dresses. The first tangible spoils of my silent war. It's not about the money, not really. It's about the justice. It's about the fact that, for the first time, one of their malicious acts has had a direct negative consequence for them and a positive one for me. Sophia is released on bail, paid by a frantic Marcus who had to liquidate some of his more accessible and likely ill-gotten assets. But she's facing felony charges, grand larceny, insurance fraud. Her dream of Columbia University is looking decidedly shaky. The atmosphere in the house is no longer just tense, it's toxic. Sophia glares at me with open hatred, Marcus with a new wary suspicion. They can't prove I did anything. To the world, I'm still sweet, innocent Elena, the bewildered victim of her stepsister's inexplicable actions. But they know. Somehow, they know. And I let them. Let them wonder. Let them fear. Their Paris plan is still in motion, of course. They're too arrogant, too committed to back down now. But the ground beneath their feet is starting to crumble. And I'm the one with the hammer, patiently, silently tapping at the foundations. Sophia's arrest throws a wrench into their carefully orchestrated timeline, but it doesn't derail their ultimate goal. If anything, it makes Marcus more desperate. The family scandal, as he calls it, becomes his new leverage. Elena, you must go to Paris now, he insists, his voice tight with an urgency that borders on aggression. It's for your own good, to get away from all this unpleasantness. People will talk. This will reflect badly on you too. But father, I ask, my voice laced with innocent confusion. What about Sophia? Shouldn't I stay and support her? His face darkens. Sophia will be dealt with. Your priority is your future. This art program is a golden opportunity. We can't let Sophia's mistakes ruin it for you. He starts pushing for an earlier departure date. The program directors are very keen for you to start as soon as possible, he lies, his eyes flicking away from mine. They've made special arrangements. I play along, feigning excitement while my internal alarms are screaming. I accidentally walk in on him in the study late one night. He slams his laptop shut, but not before I catch a glimpse of the screen, a template for a foreign death certificate, the name Elena Vance clearly visible. My blood runs cold. He's not just planning to abandon me, he's planning to kill me off legally. Declare me dead in a foreign country, claim my inheritance through Sophia, and wash his hands of me forever. The homeless shelter donation Sophia mentioned, that would be their alibi, their performance of grief. The stakes have just been raised. This isn't just about money anymore, this is about my life, the one I'm living now and the one they're trying to steal. All right, father, I say a few days later, my voice bright and compliant. I'll go, I understand. It's probably for the best. I even offer to help plan a small, intimate going-away party. Just close family and friends, I suggest, so I can say a proper goodbye. He agrees, relieved at my apparent acquiescence. He sees his victory within reach. I see him walking deeper into my trap. While helping him with the party preparations, which mostly involve him making furtive phone calls in hushed tones to people with vaguely Eastern European accents, I make a suggestion. Father, this Paris opportunity is so incredible. You know, Mrs. Albright from the local newspaper is always looking for positive community stories. Maybe we could invite her to the party? She could do a little piece on a local girl achieving her dreams. It would be wonderful publicity for your business, too, showing how supportive you are of the arts. He hesitates for a moment, then a slow, greedy smile spreads across his face. Publicity, He can't resist it. An excellent idea, Elena. Yes, let's invite her. Let everyone see what a devoted father I am. The local newspaper. Perfect. The more people who know I'm going to Paris, the more questions will be asked when I inevitably disappear. While he's busy cultivating his image as the benevolent patriarch, I make my own calls. I contact Miss Evans, my high school college counselor. She's a sharp, no-nonsense woman who always had a soft spot for me. Miss Evans, I begin, my voice laced with carefully constructed anxiety. I need your help. It's about this art program in Paris my father has arranged. I explain the situation. The non-existent academy, the one-way ticket, the forged documents I just discovered. Then, the bombshell. I found some emails on my father's computer, Miss Evans. He's not sending me to an art school. He's paid a lot of money to these people. I looked them up. They specialize in making young women disappear, in Eastern Europe mostly. But they have connections in Paris. I let my voice break, a sob catching in my throat. I think my father is trying to sell me. There's a stunned silence on the other end of the line. Then Miss Evans' voice, cold as steel. Elena, are you somewhere safe right now? Yes, I whisper, but they want me to leave in 3 days. Don't go anywhere, she commands. Don't pack, act normal. I'm making some calls. This is beyond anything I've ever encountered. The going away party is a surreal affair. Our living room is filled with Marcus's business associates, a few oblivious family friends, Aunt Linda looking pale and anxious, and, as per my innocent suggestion, Mrs. Albright from the Oakwood Creek Chronicle, notepad in hand. Also present at my discreet invitation, Madame Dubois from the French consulate and Mr. Abernathy. They stand quietly in a corner, observing. Marcus is in his element, expansive and charming, regaling everyone with tales of my prodigious artistic talent and the exclusive Parisian academy that scouted me. Sophia, out on bail and radiating resentment, hovers in the background, occasionally forcing a tight smile when someone congratulates her on her generous stepsister. I play the part of the excited, slightly overwhelmed ingenue, thanking everyone for their good wishes, promising to send postcards. Inside, my nerves are stretched taut. Miss Evans had called back. The information I'd given her, combined with the consulate's own red flags, had triggered an FBI investigation into international kidnapping and human trafficking. They were moving fast. Just as Marcus is raising a champagne flute for a toast, to Elena, our rising star, and her brilliant future in Paris. The doorbell rings. Not a polite social ring, but a hard, insistent series of chimes. 2 men in dark suits enter, followed by several uniformed officers. Marcus Vance? One of the suits says, his voice calm but authoritative. We're with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We have a warrant for your arrest. Chaos erupts. Champagne glasses shatter. Mrs. Albright's pen scribbles furiously. Marcus's face goes from ruddy to ashen in a heartbeat. Arrest! What is the meaning of this? There must be some mistake. No mistake, Mr. Vance, the agent replies, his eyes like chips of ice. Conspiracy to commit kidnapping, human trafficking. Marcus's eyes find mine across the room. Pure, unadulterated fury contorts his features. You! He bellows, lunging towards me, his carefully constructed facade shattering. You did this, you little viper. Agents intercept him easily. As they handcuff him, his screams echo through the suddenly silent room. She planned it all. She's been playing us, don't you see? But no one is looking at him with anything but horror and disgust. They look at me and they see a pale, trembling girl, tears streaming down her face, clutching Madame Dubois' arm for support. Father, I whisper, my voice a perfect blend of confusion and terror. What's happening? Why are they taking you away? Madame Dubois puts a comforting arm around my shoulders. Mr. Abernathy steps forward, his expression grim. It appears, Elena, he says, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear, that your father has been involved in some very serious, very illegal activities that seem to have been directed at you. The Paris art program was a fiction, a lie to lure me out of the country. The men he was wiring money to weren't academics. They were criminals who specialized in making inconvenient daughters disappear. The fake death certificate was his endgame. Later that night, after the FBI has gone, after the bewildered guests have dispersed, after Sophia has been taken in for questioning as a potential accomplice, I'm alone in the sprawling, silent house. The festive decorations mock me. The leftover canapes sit untouched. And then I break. Not with screams or shouts, but with silent, racking sobs. Tears of relief, of exhaustion, of a grief so profound for the girl I was. The girl who died in that cold airport terminal in another life. I cry for her innocence, for her lost faith. I cry until I'm empty. When the tears finally stop, a strange calm settles over me. I pick up my phone. I search for the number of a legitimate student exchange program in Paris. One I'd researched months ago, a dream I'd never dared to voice. The tuition is expensive. But then I remember the accounts Mr. Abernathy had flagged. The illicit funds the FBI would now be seizing. Marcus's bribery money, his trafficking money, my money, stolen and then repurposed. I dial the number. Bonjour, I say, my voice surprisingly steady. Je m'appelle Elena Vance. I'd like to inquire about your summer art history program. For the first time since that Christmas morning, since this impossible second chance began, I allow myself to feel a flicker of something other than rage and fear. Hope. Fragile, tentative, but undeniably there. Paris. Maybe this time I'll actually make it, and it will be on my own terms. The weeks following Marcus's arrest are a blur of legal meetings, police interviews, and the slow, painstaking process of untangling my father's web of deceit. Mr. Abernathy becomes my rock, guiding me through the labyrinthine complexities of the legal system with a calm, grandfatherly reassurance. It's during one of these meetings, in his dusty, book-lined office, that the first major twist reveals itself. "Elena," he says, peering at me over his half-moon glasses, "there's something you need to understand about your mother's will, something Marcus clearly never wanted you to know and, frankly, was legally obligated to disclose." He slides a thick document across his mahogany desk. "Your mother was a very astute woman, Elena. She had reservations about Marcus even back then, particularly regarding his financial acumen, or lack thereof." He taps a clause deep within the will. "This states that should your legal guardian Marcus be found unfit, or be engaged in any activity that jeopardizes your financial or personal well-being, full control of your inheritance, including the principal of the Vance Art Foundation, transfers to you directly upon your 17th birthday." I stare at him, uncomprehending. "My 17th birthday was 3 months ago, Mr. Abernathy." "Precisely," he says, a grim smile touching his lips. "With Marcus's arrest and the overwhelming evidence of his financial malfeasance and his conspiracy against you, he is unequivocally unfit. Elena, you are not dependent on his guardianship. You haven't been for months. You are, for all intents and purposes, an emancipated minor with full control over an estate worth, well, let's just say Marcus never even scratched the surface of its true value. Millions. Not just the trust fund Marcus had been plundering, but properties, investments, a significant collection of art my mother had curated, an entire empire Marcus had been trying to usurp, but never legally accessed in its entirety. My mother, from beyond the grave, had built a fortress around me, and I never even knew the gates were mine to command. The second revelation comes tumbling after the first, a cascade of unexpected support. My research into the family finances, the endless spreadsheets and offshore accounts, had led me down a rabbit hole of international art dealerships. One name kept appearing in my mother's old correspondence, Galerie Beaumont, based in Paris. On a whim, fueled by a strange sense of intuition, I'd asked Mr. Abernathy to reach out. A week later, I'm on a video call with a woman whose kind eyes and elegant silver hair mirror a faded photograph I have of my maternal grandmother. A woman Marcus had always claimed wanted nothing to do with us after my mother married him. "Elena, ma chérie," Grand-mère Beaumont says, her voice thick with emotion, tears streaming down her face. "We have been searching for you for so long. After she passed, Marcus cut off all contact. He told us you wanted nothing to do with your French heritage." It turns out my mother's family, the Beaumonts, are not just art dealers. They are a prominent and wealthy Parisian family with deep roots in the art world. They'd been desperately trying to find me for years, setting aside funds for my education, maintaining a separate trust fund in my name that Marcus knew nothing about. An entire family, a network of love and protection spanning continents, waiting for me. The Parisian dream Marcus and Sophia had dangled as bait was, in a cruel irony, a distorted reflection of a truth they'd actively tried to suppress. I wasn't just going to Paris, I was going home. The story of the family conspiracy, as Mrs. Albright from the Oakwood Creek Chronicle dramatically dubs it, explodes in the local, then national media. Marcus Vance, respected businessman, philanthropist, revealed as a conman, an embezzler, a would-be human trafficker. Sophia Vance, socialite in training, exposed as a petty thief and fraudster. And me? I am no longer the bewildered victim. Guided by Mr. Abernathy and a savvy PR consultant my French family hires, I strategically release pieces of my documented evidence, the audio recordings of Sophia's callous remarks, the forged signatures, sanitized excerpts from the financial records. The narrative shifts. I am Elena Vance, the brilliant, resourceful young woman who uncovered a dangerous criminal conspiracy, who outsmarted her abusers, who fought for her life and her mother's legacy. Universities offer scholarships. Art programs extend invitations. Galleries express interest in the young heiress with an artist's eye. It's a heady, surreal transformation. The power shift culminates in a sterile meeting room at Marcus's lawyer's office. Mr. Davies, a slick, expensive-looking man who clearly regrets taking Marcus on as a client, attempts to negotiate a plea deal. "Miss Vance," he begins, his tone unctuous, "your father is a broken man. He's prepared to make full restitution to ensure Sophia cooperates, if you would consider showing some leniency. A statement in his favor, perhaps?" I slide a single USB drive across the table. "Mr. Davies," I say, my voice calm and even. "On this drive, you will find hundreds of hours of audio recordings, video footage from a hidden camera in your client's study, meticulously documented financial fraud spanning over a decade, and sworn affidavits from myself and several other individuals your client has defrauded. You will also find evidence of his correspondence with known human traffickers, enough to ensure he and his daughter face the maximum possible sentences." Mr. Davies' composure cracks. He picks up the drive as if it's a venomous snake. "I am, however," I continue, leaning forward slightly, "a pragmatist. If your clients cooperate fully, and I mean fully, in returning all stolen assets, not just from my mother's estate, but from every individual they victimized, and if they provide comprehensive, truthful testimony against their criminal associates, particularly the trafficking ring, then perhaps and only perhaps I might not actively campaign for the harshest penalties." I smile, a cool, knowing smile. "The choice, Mr. Davies, is theirs." My final act in this chapter of unveiling is a visit to Sophia in the county jail. She's awaiting trial, stripped of her designer clothes and her arrogant demeanor. She looks small and pathetic in the drab prison jumpsuit. "Elena," she says, her voice hoarse when I sit down opposite her, separated by thick plexiglass. "You came. Does this mean, are you going to help me?" I say nothing for a long moment, simply observing her. Then, I hold up my phone to the glass. On the screen is a photograph. It's me, standing on the Pont des Arts in Paris, the Louvre gleaming behind me. I'm wearing one of my mother's vintage dresses, now beautifully restored, her pearl necklace at my throat. In my hand, I'm holding an acceptance letter to a prestigious art history program at the Sorbonne. My French cousins are on either side of me, laughing. I look radiant, happy, free. "I'm not here to help you, Sophia," I say softly. "I'm here to show you what you tried to destroy. You and Father thought I was weak, naive, easily discarded." I tap the glass over the image of myself in Paris. "You thought you were sending me to my doom. Instead, you sent me to my destiny." Her face crumbles. The last vestiges of her arrogance, her defiance, shatter into a million pieces. She sees it then. The truth. I was never the helpless pawn she imagined. I was the player, and she and Marcus were merely pieces on my board, pieces I had systematically, patiently removed. This was you, she whispers, her eyes wide with the dawning horror. All of it, the dresses, the FBI, you planned it all. I simply smile, the same sweet, innocent smile I'd given her on Christmas morning. Accidents happen, Sophia, I say, echoing her earlier words. And sometimes, so does justice. The courtroom is cold, impersonal, a stark contrast to the maelstrom of emotions Marcus is clearly experiencing. He's aged a decade in the past few months, his expensive suit hanging loosely on his diminished frame, his eyes hollow and desperate. He's been convicted on multiple counts of fraud, conspiracy, and attempted trafficking. Sentencing is next week. His lawyer, Mr. Davies, arranged this private meeting in a small, sterile conference room, a last-ditch effort. Elena, Marcus begins, his voice raspy, reaching across the table as if to take my hand. I keep mine folded primly in my lap. Please, you have to help me. I made mistakes, terrible mistakes, but I never meant to hurt you, not really. I stare at him, my expression unreadable. The man who was my father, the man who was supposed to protect me. I only wanted to protect the family finances, he continues, his words tumbling out in a desperate torrent. Things got complicated, debts, pressure. I thought if I could just consolidate everything, and I was trying to secure your future and Sophia's. He attempts a watery smile. I really did love you, Elena, like my own daughter. I let the silence stretch, watching him squirm. The manipulation tactics that used to work so effortlessly on the trusting girl I once was now seemed transparent, pathetic. Let's be clear, Marcus, I say finally, my voice devoid of inflection. You didn't want to protect the family finances, you wanted to steal mine. You didn't love me like a daughter. You saw me as an obstacle, a piggy bank to be smashed open. His face falls. No, Elena, that's not true. Isn't it? I counter, my voice still quiet, but with an edge of steel. Let me recount. Lie number 1, the exclusive art program in Paris. Lie number 2, my instability and impulsive behavior to justify declaring me incompetent. Lie number 3, the accidental destruction of my mother's dresses. I tick them off on my fingers one by one. Theft number 1, systematic embezzlement from my mother's estate for years. Theft number 2, Sophia's scholarship, paid for with my inheritance. Theft number 3, the attempted theft of my entire identity and future through a forged death certificate. His face is gray now, his desperate hope visibly deflating. And let's not forget your gambling debts, Marcus. I continue, my gaze unwavering. The ones you were planning to pay off by selling me to human traffickers. Or your numerous affairs conveniently funded by my mother's money. Did you love those women like daughters too? He flinches as if struck. How did you know all that? You underestimated me, I say simply. You both did. You saw a quiet, grieving girl and you assumed she was weak, blind, malleable. You never considered she might be observant, resourceful, and deeply, deeply devoted to the mother you both dishonored. I reach into my bag and pull out a small, leather-bound journal. My mother's diary. I found it hidden in a false bottom in Marcus's office safe, a place he clearly thought no one would ever look. Your wife, I say, my voice softening almost imperceptibly as I speak of my mother, was a remarkable woman, and she wasn't blind either. I open the diary, the pages brittle with age. October 14th, I read. Marcus was short with Elena again today. His temper, it frightens me. And the money, he's so secretive. I've started keeping my own records. I must protect her. Whatever it takes, I must protect my little girl. I look up at him. Every action I have taken, Marcus, every piece of evidence I gathered, every phone call I made was to honor her memory, to ensure the love and protection she so desperately wanted for me. You didn't just try to destroy me, you tried to destroy her legacy, her dying wish. He breaks then. Not with the performative tears of a con man, but with the ragged, hopeless sobs of a man utterly defeated. A man staring into the abyss of his own creation. He finally understands. This wasn't just revenge for my stolen future, it was a reckoning for her stolen peace. A few days later, I agree to see Sophia. She's been convicted of theft and insurance fraud, her dreams of Colombia and a life of luxury replaced by the grim reality of a prison sentence. She, too, attempts a final manipulation, though hers is tinged with a bitter, twisted logic. You know, Elena, she says, her voice surprisingly strong, a flicker of her old arrogance returning. None of this would have happened if it weren't for us. You wouldn't be this strong, successful person. We made you who you are. We gave you something to fight against. You should be grateful. I almost laugh. The audacity. Grateful, Sophia? I ask, my voice dangerously soft. You want gratitude? All right, I am grateful. I'm grateful you showed me exactly the kind of person I never want to become. I'm grateful your cruelty taught me resilience. I'm grateful your greed taught me the value of integrity. You think you made me strong through your support? I leaned closer to the plexiglass. You made me strong the way breaking a bone makes it stronger when it heals, through the pain you inflicted, not the love you pretended to give. Her face twists, the manufactured confidence faltering. You always hated me. No, Sophia, I correct her gently. I pitied you. And now I simply don't think of you at all. The day of their sentencing, Mr. Davies makes one last, desperate appeal. Marcus and Sophia, standing before the judge, beg for mercy. They talk of remorse, of wanting to make amends, of lessons learned. Their voices crack with feigned emotion. The judge turns to me. I've been allowed to give a victim impact statement, though I've waived the right to speak publicly, providing a written one instead. He asks if I have anything to add, if their pleas have swayed me. I stand, my hands clasped before me, a picture of calm dignity. I look at Marcus. I look at Sophia. Their eyes are fixed on me, pleading. The power in this moment is absolute. The girl they tried to erase now holds their future in her hands. Your Honor, I say, my voice clear and steady, resonating through the silent courtroom. Mercy requires remorse, true remorse, not just sorrow for being caught. I pause, letting my gaze linger on them for a heartbeat longer. They are not sorry for what they did. They are only sorry for the consequences they now face. I turn back to the judge. No, I say, the words simple, unequivocal, final. I do not recommend mercy. Marcus receives 15 years in federal prison for fraud, conspiracy to commit kidnapping, and attempted human trafficking. With the evidence I provided, several of his criminal associates, including the traffickers, are also indicted. Sophia gets 5 years for grand larceny and insurance fraud. Her dreams of a glamorous life dissolving into the harsh reality of a prison cell. They are ordered to pay full restitution, a sum so vast it will ensure they live out their days in penury, even after their release. As they are led away, their faces ashen, their eyes hollow with the true understanding of their defeat, I feel nothing. No triumph. No satisfaction. Just a quiet sense of closure. The scales, so long tipped against me, have finally been balanced. My mother's memory has been honored, and the weak little girl they tried to destroy is finally, truly free. Spring in Paris. It's different from the Paris of my nightmares, the one where I shivered alone in the dark. This Paris is vibrant, alive, bathed in a soft golden light that filters through the tall, elegant windows of Grand Mère Beaumont's art gallery in Le Marais. I'm standing in the main salon, surrounded by canvases that pulse with color and stories of strength, resilience, and beauty. The scent of old wood, beeswax, and blooming lilies from the courtyard fills the air, a fragrant counterpoint to the cloying perfume that once haunted my memories. I'm wearing one of my mother's vintage dresses, a soft, flowing silk in shades of periwinkle and lavender. It's been lovingly restored, a tangible link to her, and it feels like a second skin. Around my neck, her pearls, cool and comforting. I'm guiding a small group of young, aspiring artists through the current exhibition, talking about brushstrokes and symbolism, about the power of art to transform and heal. My French, once rusty and hesitant, now flows with a newfound confidence. I see the eager, hopeful faces of the students, and I see a reflection of the girl I'm becoming. Later, I'm curled up on a velvet chaise lounge in my grandmother's sun-drenched apartment overlooking the Seine. The room is filled with books, art, and the gentle murmur of family. I'm on a video call with my French cousins, Antoine and Chloe. We're laughing, planning our summer backpacking trip through Italy, arguing good-naturedly about whether Florence or Rome has the better gelato. Chloe is teasing me about my upcoming first semester at the Sorbonne, where I've been accepted into their prestigious art history program. Prépare-toi, Elena, she says, her eyes sparkling. Les professeurs sont détirants, mais les fêtes sont magnifiques. Grand-mère Beaumont brings in a tray of citron pressé and madeleines. She kisses the top of my head, her touch light as a butterfly's wing. Tu es heureuse, ma petite? She asks softly. Oui, grand-mère, I reply, my heart swelling with a warmth I'd forgotten was possible. Très heureuse. I've learned in these past few healing months that family isn't about blood or obligation or the suffocating pretense of love. It's about choice. It's about people who choose to lift you up, who celebrate your joys, who offer solace in your sorrows, who simply love you for who you are. The sounds of genuine affection, of easy laughter, fill these rooms, a stark contrast to the strained silences and whispered cruelties of my former life. A news alert briefly flashes on my tablet. A small, international news agency reports the final appeal denial for Marcus and Sophia Vance. Their sentences are confirmed. He will serve his 15 years, she, her 5. I swipe the notification away without a flicker of emotion. They are a closed chapter, a footnote in a story that is no longer about them. It's about me now, about the life I'm building, not the one they tried to tear down. My energy is focused on creation, on beauty, on learning, not on the barren landscape of their retribution. That evening, I sit at my antique writing desk, a gift from Grand-mère, and open my journal. It's not for documenting evidence anymore, but for capturing thoughts, dreams, fragments of beauty. I take out a sheet of heavy cream paper and begin to write. To the girl I was, the scared, lonely girl who shivered in the cold, wondering why the world had grown so cruel. I see you. I remember you. And I want you to know that your pain, your fear, it wasn't for nothing. It had a purpose. It was the fire that forged the woman I am today. The girl who died in that airport, in that other lifetime, she didn't vanish. She gave birth to someone stronger, someone who refuses to be a victim, someone who learned, the hardest way, to fight for herself. Thank you for your resilience. Thank you for not breaking. We made it. I fold the letter carefully and place it inside my mother's antique jewelry box, the one Mr. Abernathy recovered from Marcus's seized assets. It sits beside her pearls, a promise kept, a testament to survival. The story ends, as perhaps it was always meant to, in Paris. Not in a cold, indifferent airport, but high above the city, on the observation deck of the Eiffel Tower, as the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of rose and gold. The city lights twinkle to life below, a breathtaking panorama of dreams and possibilities. I am not the abandoned, heartbroken girl who froze to death, waiting for a love that was a lie. That Elena is a ghost, a memory that no longer has the power to wound. I am Elena Vance, heir to a legacy of art and resilience, a student of history, a traveler, a granddaughter, a cousin, a friend, a woman who chose to live fully and fiercely. A soft breeze ruffles my hair. I think just briefly of Marcus and Sophia, not with anger, not anymore, but with a distant, detached pity for the smallness of their souls, for the love they were incapable of giving or receiving. The lessons they taught me through their cruelty were invaluable, and for that, in a strange, twisted way, I am grateful. They showed me everything I didn't want to be, and in doing so, illuminated the path to who I was meant to become. I close my eyes, lift my face to the Parisian sky, and whisper 2 words into the wind. Words carried on the currents of the Seine, words for the mother whose love was a guiding star, even from beyond the veil. Merci, maman. Then I turn my back on the setting sun and walk towards tomorrow, whole and free and radiantly, wonderfully alive.